What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel. It's time for another episode of the Ancestry Anthology. You knew you'd see it. We've got, what? I don't know. I forget. A lot of new races. I'm not looking at the PDF right now, but today, by patron request, the orcs are up first. A race that's seen a lot of changes in Ancestry I enjoy, and a thing I'm pretty excited to build here in the near future. But I digress. If you're liking what you're seeing, like, subscribe, and ding the bell. Stay caught up on all your Pathfinder 1st and 2nd edition stuff. And remember, if you want exclusive content or to join us at the table, maybe be awash in temp HP and humongous Ancestry HP, yeah, you know, we've got that on our Patreon. But in any case, let's hit it. Okay, so just right out the gate from jump here, the first thing I want to address in this video is the 2nd edition Advanced Player's Guide has seemed to prioritize grabbing ancestries from 1st edition Pathfinder that often saw the short end of the stick in terms of their lore, in terms of their mechanics, so on and so forth, and the orc is no exception. I said it before in the Forgotten Race review for 1st edition, and I will say it again. Throughout nerd pop culture, the orcs have kind of been shunted into that role of generic amounts of masked bad things that we are here to slaughter to death for experience, because if we do not, the villages will burn. 1st edition Pathfinder played into that quite a bit, as we all might remember, and if we don't, hey, I'll catch you up. A long time ago, the orcs of Golarion lived in the Darklands alongside the Drow, the Druger, so on and so forth. When Earthfall happened, the dwarves of Golarion took that as a sign from Torog that it was time for them to leave the Darklands, emerging upward into a new realm, and so they mass exodused up in the quest for Sky, driving the orcs up before them, which of course sparks long periods of wars between the two ancestries, which of course follow that up with all of the orcs eventually being relegated to a barren wasteland in Avestan, abuse at the hands of a necromancer, so on and so forth. 2nd edition has taken all of that, taken that long history of violence and warfare, and then taken it into the next step. Indeed, the culture has been forged in the fires of violence and conflict, and that remains the same in some orc holds. These powerfully built, often over 7 tall, brutish individuals still indeed revel in testing their strength against worthy foes, because at this point that's part of the culture. There's no stepping back from that as far as Golarion is concerned without just like erasing everything we've built so far. However, those who earn the loyalty of an orcish friend soon learn that their fidelity and honesty are unparalleled. And sure, there are probably human settlements out there that are hesitant to accept a band of orc mercenaries, warriors, so on and so forth into their midst. A small group of these specialized warriors can indeed do the job of an entire squad of human conscripts. Just going right back to that thesis statement, that's our culture. Our culture is testing against worthy foes. We're Klingons now, basically. On Golarion, orcs typically have green, sometimes gray skin, though other colorations can be found to reflect adaptations to the environment, and their skin is pretty rough, but they do scar real easily, and several orc cultures place value on those scars. Indeed, they are the scars that shape them. Young orcs come of age around like 10 or 11 years old, about the same as they did in 1E. Did I forget to put a card in for the Forgotten Race review? Follow this card right up here. We'll catch you up on the vital stats there. Baby orcs are usually raised by the entire community because twins, triplets, and even quadruplets are quite common amongst orcish families. And again, that makes a lot of sense when over the past, age or so, things have not been the greatest for you or your people. Within the orc holds, which most primarily exist in the hold of Belkzen, power is either derived from strength or family lineage. Typically speaking, you're looking at a feudal structure with the weaker orcs working at the behest of the strong, and you're looking at a structure where power can change rapidly. Somebody dies in battle, and the entire power structure is shaken up, duels to the death over whose son becomes the leader, several warriors banding together, tired of being subservient, to form new holds, so on and so forth. Now, let's hit that mechanical stuff, shall we? Joining the dwarves and some goblins, orcs come out with 10 hit points. They're medium creatures with a speed of 25 feet, and they, alongside one other race, do not receive an ability flaw. These guys get an ability boost to strength and one freebie, and that's it. They begin play speaking Common and Orcish, with additional languages, of course. They've got dark vision and the orc and humanoid traits. So before we hit the ancestry feats, let's address that Gorthek in the room real fast, shall we? I think that's really cool. I have played a couple of orcs in my day. I will come back to that at the end of the video. But what I want to say right now, fresh in everyone's mind, is I really like the fact that the wheel is turning. Did Tolkien write a masterpiece? Yeah, sure. Basically everything I do for fun and for money, for fun and profit, God, I've come full circle, I can thank that man for, but the notion, the trope that every orc is not smart enough to speak a full sentence and just wants to kill me and take all of my things is tired and kind of crappy. This is better. Though this means you will get net one less ability boost at character creation, you do have no flaws, which mechanically seems like a very fair trade to me, and it no longer codes this particular ancestry as big, dumb brutes. Though really that's a whole debate and video that we could go in and of itself. I digress. Heritage time. The Badlands orc can hustle twice as long while exploring before they have to stop, and they treat environmental heat effects as if they were one step less extreme. The Deep Orc gets terrain expertise for underground terrain and the combat climber feat. The Rainfall Orc gets a +2 circumstance bonus to athletics checks to climb or swim, and a +1 circumstance bonus to saves against disease, but I think the far and away best one mechanically, the Hold Scarred Orc, part of an orc community that participates in ritual scarification or tattooing, gets 12 hit points from their ancestry instead of 10, and Die Hard. Like every single solitary min-maxing for fun and profit in 2nd edition, I put toughness and Die Hard on those characters. This one gets it from jump and starts with a huge amount of hit points. An orc barbarian is looking at 24 plus con at jump. If they choose this heritage, an orc barbarian is looking at a gigantic sink of hit points. Though if I'm honest, something like an orc witch or wizard probably likes this one a lot better, what with that net less hit points from class as we level up. Anyway, ancestry feats, here we go. Beast Trainer out the gate. Gets you trained in nature and grabs you the train animal skill feat. Iron Fist gives your unarmed strikes the shove trait, and they no longer have the non-lethal trait, so you can just sock a dude to death if you want. Orc Lore gets you trained in athletics, survival, or something else if you happen to get those somewhere else, and Orc Lore, of course. And Tusks gets you a Tusk's unarmed attack that deals 1d6 piercing damage in the brawling with finesse and unarmed traits. You can only take this one at first level, though. You can't retrain into it, and you can only retrain out through drastic measures like not brushing your teeth, biting into some ice cream. It hurts too bad, you gotta remove them. It's all just horrible. But also, remember, this ancestry has seen a lot of ancestry feats already from the Half-Orc, one of which we will be building on as we go. Talk about that in just a second. At 5th level Athletic Might, when you roll a success on an athletics check to climb or swim, you get a crit success. And remember, kids, at level 5, one of the scariest things to most adventuring parties is about 6 foot of water. So that could be very useful for folks. Bloody Blows says when you critically hit with a strike using an unarmed attack that is not non-lethal, the target takes 1d4 persistent bleed. This can be because you're taking the penalty to use a fist for a lethal attack, or because you bite them. Really diversifying your stuff. It's super cool. Hold Mark. You bear the scars or tattoos enhanced by the mark of your community's prowess. When you select this feat, choose one of the options on the following page. Did we really have to put that in? Obviously, we're going to look to the other side of the page. Come on. When you crit using a weapon of the listed group, you apply the weapon's critical specialization effect. You get a large brand or tattoo in the shape of the chosen emblem, a similar image. For example, the axe could be a bear or yada yada. Basically, this hands you the crit specialization benefits with axes, picks, hammers, shields, bombs, or knives. So not like every weapon under the sun, but a very wide variety. Bombs were the last thing I was expecting to see. Anyway, 9th level, Death's Drums. When you're taking persistent damage or your wounded value is 1 or greater, you get a +2 circumstance bonus to fort saves. Not bad. What's better? Undying Ferocity. This requires Orc Ferocity, a 1st level ancestry feat. As a reaction, if you would be reduced to 0 hit points but not insta-killed, you avoid being knocked out and remain at 1 hit point, but your wounded condition ticks up by 1. Grab Undying Ferocity. When you use Orc Ferocity, you gain temp HP equal to your level, which on flavor I think is really cool. Hit points are, of course, one of the biggest abstracts in TTRPGs. I don't think it's the case that the 100 hit point barbarian gets stabbed in the chest 20 times, walks it off, but the 20 hit point wizard takes the exact same wound and just insta-explodes. I think HP is better represented, and really, I need to work this into my flavor text, as the attack hits you, quote-unquote, does 5 damage, quote-unquote, and you just narrowly dodge your head being removed, wearing into your own stamina, wearing into your own ability to stay in the fight. Undying Ferocity basically just reads as uber adrenaline rush to me. Anyway, at 13th level, Ferocious Beasts, if you took Beast Tamer or have an animal companion and have Orc Ferocity, animal companions or bonded animals you have gain the Orc Ferocity feat, and they gain a reaction they can use only for Orc Ferocity. If you have Undying Ferocity, all animal companions or bonded animals also gain that benefit, which is good. Spell Devourer, if you grabbed Pervasive Superstition, says that whenever you succeed at a saving throw against a spell or magical effect, again, you get temp HP equal to double the spell's level or equal to the level if the magical effect isn't a spell. These temporary hit points last until the end of your next turn. So if you don't crit succeed against the fireball, this gives you a bit of a buffer against it. Or god, if you have evasion, this is just straight up value. Lastly, Rampaging Ferocity is a free action when you use Orc Ferocity. Make a single strike. If the strike brings a foe to 0 HP, the activation of Orc Ferocity doesn't count against its frequency. So yeah, I'm pretty jazzed about this ancestry. It does a lot of stuff that I enjoy in my games. I think healers in 2nd edition are much more useful, dare I say, required than they were in any other edition of the game. And having some stuff in-house to take care of your own hit points not only helps you, but makes the healer's job a little easier. They also buff out animal companions in-house, which I think is really cool, since, you know, in a lot of the games I've played, I like to show up with a giant tiger, or bear, or tyrannosaur, or so on and so forth. But again, I think the big takeaway here is that we are not coding our orcs in the same way as we have been, and we're coding them in a little bit better light. Literally within the universe, some orc holds teach that the greatest members of the hold can earn a chance to challenge the orc deities for a place amid the pantheon. Most orcs don't waste their dying moments praising the divine or praying for a place in the afterlife, but rather spit a blood-flecked warning at their deities, promising a new challenger. The one time I played an orc in a, not ROLL playing, when I wasn't just in 1E going for that +4 strength to swing a giant anime axe at people. My very first foray into role-playing was an orc hunter, and one of the big drawbacks, not challenges to overcome, but just straight up drawbacks, was the way the setting perceived him. This is a much better look, and honestly, I might take a couple min-maxing for fun and profits just to put together some of my old 1E characters in 2E, because it seems to be a little easier to do now, and there's a lot of stuff in here that Necros would just love, but what do y'all think? Are we rolling these up? Are we fighting them? Rolling in hit points like Scrooge McDuck with his money? Let me know down in the comments, and as always, thank y'all for watching. Next week, we're gonna break into one of the versatile heritages by patron request. Next week, it's the Damn Fear. I'll see you then.